So here are the solutions for the A Mix of Missing Angles assignment. On the first 8, you're supposed to get the name of the pair of angles that are shown there. You have vertical, complementary, linear pair, corresponding, alternate exterior, alternate interior, and consecutive interior. And so on each of these pairs, you just have to look at them and figure out what they make together and how they're related. These two here, they make a right angle, because here you have a straight line. A right angle here means there's going to be a right angle over here, and so these two make a linear pair. On 2, you have two parallel lines, and then a transversal that cuts across them. And if you have two exterior angles on opposite sides of the transversal, you have alternate exterior angles. Here at 3, these two angles are made with these two lines, and they're opposite of the intersection there, and so they are actually called vertical angles. Yeah, I'll just call them vertical. And 5, actually, these two are opposite sides of two intersecting lines, and so they are also vertical. Here on 6, these two angles, Y and Z, are on the same side of the transversal and in between the parallel lines. That makes them consecutive interior angles. On 7, these two angles are made with these two rays there, those two lines, and they come together to make a straight line here, which means they are a linear pair. Moving down to the next two on 4 and 8, these guys here are on the same location of these two intersections. They're both in the bottom right of the intersection, and so these ones are called corresponding angles. And on 8, you have angles outside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal, which makes them alternate exterior angles. Moving down to the next part, you have to get the value of x, or the question mark, and you have to show your work, so make sure you do that. These two angles here are alternate interior angles, which means they're equal to each other, and so that's where this equation comes from. 8x minus 4 equals the 60 degrees there. And now you just have to solve for x. So you're going to add 4 to both sides. You'll get 8x equals 64. Divide both sides by 8. You have x equals 8, because 64 divided by 8 is 8. On 10, these two angles are on the same side of the transversal, and they're in between the parallel lines, which makes them consecutive interior angles. And when you have consecutive interior angles, they add up to 180. So they're a little bit different than the other parallel line and transversal angles. So those two guys, if I add them together, equal 180 degrees. We now need to combine like terms. I messed up right here. That should be 24x and then minus 1. I'm going to combine like terms now. 20x plus 24x gives you 44x. 5 plus negative 1 is going to give you positive 4. The right side stays the same. We now need to subtract 4 from both sides. You'll get 44x equals 176. To finish up, you need to divide both sides by 44. And you have x equals 4, because 176 divided by 44 is 4. Moving on to 11 here, we have three angles that give us a complete circle, and so they all add together to make 360. So I'm going to just go around and write all those down added together. X minus 24 plus the 29 plus 296. They all add together to make 360. And now I'm going to combine all those together, combine my like terms. X stays there. Negative 24 plus 29 is 5, plus 296 is actually 301. Right side stays the same. We need to now get x by itself by subtracting both sides by 301. You have x equals 59. Moving on to 12. These three angles altogether add up to 180, but this part's 90 degrees, which makes this part have to be 90 degrees as well. And so these two angles, 6x plus 2 and the 40, have to add to make 90 degrees. So now I'm going to combine like terms, subtract by the 42, or trying to get the x by itself. You're looking at 6x equals 48, and divide both sides by 6. You're looking at x equals 8. On 13, you have two angles that are opposite of two intersecting lines, so they're vertical, and vertical angles are equal to each other. So you're looking at 2 plus 3x equals 62 degrees. We just need to get the x by itself, so to subtract 2 from both sides, you have 3x equals 60, and divide by 3, and you now have x equals 20. And there's your answer. On 14, you have alternate exterior angles, so they're outside the parallel lines, opposite sides of the transversal. They're equal to each other as well. And so we're going to take both of these guys here and set them equal to each other. And now it's a process of getting your x by itself. You have x's on both sides, and so I'm going to get rid of it on the right side. And while I'm at it, I'll get rid of the 1 that's on the left side by adding 1 to both sides. We're looking at 2x equals 18. You now need to just divide by the 2, and you have x equals 9. On 15, these two angles, notice how they're the bottom right corner of those two intersections of the parallel lines and transversal. So these are corresponding angles. They're equal to each other. And so that's what I'm going to write in my equation. 6x equals 5x plus 10. Well, if you just subtract 5x from both sides, trying to get the x's on one side, you'll have x equals 10. And that's it. On 16, we're supposed to get this angle that's out here. Well, that angle is a vertical angle with that one on the other side. So if we can get this guy, we will have the question mark. And this guy is inside a triangle. All the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So 30 plus that 20 angle plus whatever this is have to equal 180. Well, if you combine those, you're looking at 50 plus your unknown angle gives you 180. You gotta subtract 50 from 180, and you have question mark equals 130. On 17, we need to get this question mark out here. Well, in order to do that, we need to get more of the information in the triangle there. We can get this angle here because these two make a linear pair, so they add to 180. So if you take 180 and subtract off the 155, you get 25, which is this angle right here. It's going to be 25 degrees. And by the exterior angle theorem, those two add up to be the question mark. And so if you do 25 plus the 60, you'll get 85, and that is the question mark by the exterior angle theorem for triangles. On 18, this is a triangle. All of those pieces, all those angles add up to 180 degrees. And so that's what I'm going to write down. 55 plus 54 plus 74. Whoops, I forgot the x part. Plus x plus 74 equals 180 degrees. Well, if you combine like terms on the left side, 55 plus 54 plus the 74, you're going to get 183. And now you have to get x by itself by subtracting 183 from both sides. You have x equals -3, and you're done. On 19, we can actually set up an equation right away. These two angles by the exterior angle theorem add up to be that guy. And so that's going to be my equation. 64 plus 27 equals the exterior angle of 97 plus x. If we add those together, you will get, 64 plus 27 is 91. And now to finish up, you're going to subtract off 97 from both sides to get -6 equals x, or x is -6. And the last one, we know two of the angles in this triangle. To get the last one, you got to take these two, subtract them from 180. So we do 180, subtract off the 85, subtract off the 50. You're looking at, 180 minus 85 minus 50. You're looking at 45. And that's how much question mark is. 45 degrees. And that's the whole assignment.